So here is where I tell you that everything I said doesn't always work for everyone because we're each unique. So we talked about how this relaxes the pelvic floor, and that's great for 80-90% of people. But what about that other 10 to 20%? So as great as the squatty potty is, and as great as playing with your hip position can be, sometimes we need support that is individualized. So if you have a rectocele, or the posterior aspect of your pelvic floor where your rectum is stored is starting to kind of glide into the anterior compartment, it's not uncommon to need to change how you have a bowel movement. So when that's the case, instead of leaning forward where that gravity takes place and that posterior aspect starts to fall in and restrict a bowel movement, you may actually need to lean back on the toilet and allow gravity to allow it to glide. The squatty potty is usually still helpful. This can also happen in pregnancy just because there's a tiny human who is putting pressure on your bladder and putting pressure there. So you may find that you actually have to lean back in order to have a bowel movement. If that's the case, that isn't a problem. It's information that you can use to help support your system. Just because a lot of people benefit from a squatty potty doesn't mean that something's wrong with you if you don't. You can still just modify it to meet your needs.